I'm Stacey and welcome to my Book Nook. And welcome to today's video, which is my April wrap-up. So, let's go through the stats first. So, in April, I have managed to read one of the biggest numbers I've ever read, which is 8 books in the month, which is pretty impressive for me, actually. Okay, just had to sort out the lighting there a little bit. Hopefully that's better. Still a bit iffy though. So, as I was saying, 8 books, and that is a total of 1,922 pages. 3 of them were in digital format, and 5 were physical. Just had to check that I had all of them then. And 4 of them were series and 4 were standalone. So that's pretty good. My average rating came to 3.6. It's not quite as good as other ones, and there is one main reason why, which we'll get to. The first thing that I read in April was actually an essay. And this was for the Magical Readathon, and the essay was for a non-fiction. That was the prompt. And what I read was We Should All Be Feminists, and it's by Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie. Apologies if I said that wrong. Hopefully I didn't. Because it's an essay, I decided I wasn't going to rate it, but I thought it was a really interesting take on feminism and the author's own experiences. So, didn't rate that, but I enjoyed it. The next thing that I read, super excited about, and this one what was it for? Let's check. This one was for a shuffle in point prompt, and I read this book, which is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, and that is by Shannon Chakraborty, and I really enjoyed this. So I'll just say what it's about. So this is about Amina Al-Sirafi, and she is a lady pirate, essentially, and she has given up those ways. She's got her family, and she just kind of wants her family to be good. She wants them to thrive, really, and she especially wants her daughter to thrive. And then she kind of gets, not necessarily coerced, but she gets into something with a lady who is the mother of a former shipmate or crew member, and she has to go on an adventure to, what is it? Oh my gosh, I can't even remember anything about this, that's terrible. She has to rescue someone. There we go. She's offered a job no bandit could refuse, and she jumps at the chance for one final adventure with her old crew that should make her a legend and offer her the fortune that she needs to get her family safe and sorted for life. So this, I loved it. It was brilliant. I gave it 4.5 stars. I do think there's a couple of things that could have been better. I do think it takes a little bit to get into the actual action of this, and the actual fantasy elements take a little while to get into. But they were all really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. So, yes, 4.5, loved it, excellent. Oop. Would be good if I didn't knock my mic. And the next thing that I read is so stupid. Okay, I made a mistake, but I'm still counting it. So I was meant to read Rivers of London bodywork, and this is it's a graphic novel series. I was supposed to read volume 1, which I thought was on Libby, but it was only issue 1 that was on Libby. So I got an idea of what it was like, but I would have preferred to read the whole volume. But this one was for a friend recommendation, and that is by Ben Aaronovitch. I should have said that. So it was only 30 pages, but I gave it 3 stars because, like, I probably would have carried on if I had the whole volume, but as it was just such a small amount and I didn't really get a lot from it, so yeah, I wasn't quite sure. But I feel like if I'd have read the books, or read a book beforehand, I probably would have got a bit more from it. So I gave it 3 stars. And that is about a detective who is working for this agency, and he's investigating all the kind of magical things, I suppose, that go on in the world, and it's part of the, I want to say part of the police department or the FBI or what, not FBI, it's English. And then the next thing that I read was for 2 E's in the title, and I had a lot to pick from for this, and I went with Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus because Waterstones have been banging on about this, so I wanted to see what it was like, and also I thought I'd find it interesting. So this is about Elizabeth Zott, and she is a chemist, and her life doesn't go the way that she planned it, and she ends up being the host of a TV show, and it's like a cooking TV show, and it's basically very, very feminist, and I actually really enjoyed it. And this was, what, in the 60s I think it's set in, but I did really like it. It was very interesting. Please check the trigger warnings before you read this, because there are some quite difficult things in there. There is sexual assault, it's worse than that, and there's a lot of sexism, among other things. So yes, please check trigger warnings for this one. Also, I love this. I love this one. Look how pretty that is. It's so bright there, hang on. Yes. This edition is pretty. And I never told you what I gave it. I gave this 4 stars because I enjoyed it. The next thing that I read. Yeah. So the next thing I read was for the prompt Wolf on the cover. I read For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, and I only got 30% in because I didn't like it. I found it to be very, I know this is such a cliche, very showing and not, no, very telling and not showing. There was a lot of just info dumping at the beginning, and I couldn't get past it. It just kind of kept happening. There kept on being things that you just had to know about that I'd rather learn as we went through the story. There were some interesting elements to this. I really liked the Wilderwood or Wilderwood. That was very interesting. But apart from that, it felt very generic to me. And this is kind of a pet peeve. if you're going to do a book about twins, make sure you talk to some twins and get twins to proofread. Because I didn't feel like their relationship was realistic for twins. And it was quite near the beginning. One of them said to the other one something about your birthday. As a twin, it's our birthday. We will always say our birthday if we're talking to each other about it. Maybe if I'm talking to someone else about something that will only happen because it's my birthday, then I might say my birthday. But I wouldn't say your birthday to my twin, because we share the same birthday. So that really brought me right out of it, because I was thinking, this person, like, she wouldn't say that. I don't know any twins who don't say our birthday. And that seems like a really picky thing to pick up on, but it does annoy me a little bit. Anyway, if you didn't know, this is about two twins, and they're both princesses. One princess is for the throne and one is for the wolf, and it's basically kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling and a Red Riding Hood retelling at the same time. Which sounds like I'd love it, but I did not. And I gave it 2 stars. 2 stars. So that brought down my average a lot. Okay. The next thing that I read. Things. I'm going to do 2 at once here because you'll see it does make sense. I read 2 things, and they are non-fiction. And they're puppy training books, because we are getting a puppy. And I'm so excited. And she's going to be with us next week. Oh, well, technically, while I'm filming this, it's going to be tomorrow. So, it's exciting. So these 2 I read because I have not owned a puppy before. I haven't owned a dog before. So it's going to be a steep learning curve, and these are very, very helpful. So the first one is How to Housebreak Your Puppy in 7 Days, and that is by Phillips. And the second one is The Happy Puppy Handbook by Pippa Mattinson. Both very useful. I gave this 3 stars because it seems to go over things again and again and again, and while it's good information, it's a bit repetitive. This one found really, really useful, very comprehensive. So I gave it 4 stars, and hopefully I'll put these both into practice and they'll do me well. So that's very exciting. And the last thing that I read is The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lynn, and I read this for flowers on the cover. You see all the orchids, I believe? Yeah, all the orchids on the cover there. This is the second in the series of 6 Crimson Cranes, which I really liked. I liked this one slightly less than 6 Crimson Cranes, but I still liked it. But it did kind of feel like we're on an adventure and we're doing this, and now it's the next section and we're doing this, and now it's the next section and we're doing something completely different. So it didn't feel, it just felt, I don't know, bitty is probably the word. It wasn't a smooth transition for me. However, I still gave it 4 stars because I still really enjoyed it, and I really like the ideas in it. I really like the Chinese mythology in it, and yeah, I'm just quite happy with that. And that was a end of a series, end of a duology, so brilliant. I'm actually reading sequels, which is great. And that's everything that I read this month. I would say my favourite from this month is definitely The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, because I just loved it. I loved it. Please read it, it's brilliant. So that was my favourite. Have you read any of these, and did you enjoy them? And I hope you're as excited about getting a puppy, for me, as I am, and you'll see her soon. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!